Steve, Richard, it was rubbish.
Dangerfield, Dangerfield.
Oh, do us a favour and give that thumbs up a press, can you? I mean, the amount of views compared to the amount of thumbs up. Oh, maybe that's telling me something. But you know, help a man out, can you, governor? Here we go again, people. It's Dragon's Den time. In the last video, I mentioned that the lady that walked in was very well presented in all her designer gear, an attractive lady, and I said that, you know, attractive people get an easier ride in life. They just do. And I mentioned a couple of blokes who'd done a Dragon's Den pitch where they kind of had their overalls on. Which was appropriate, more appropriate to their tool, but it's still a business pitch. And someone said, oh, I must have missed that one, but I hadn't actually made that content. So although I have seen this one before, it was a long time ago, so I'm sure we'll get some laughs, and we might even learn something, but don't hold your breath. Here we go, we're going to start off with our man Eaglethorpe.
Now, mankind has been cutting wood for thousands of years. We've
I haven't.
got advanced tools like saws to help.
Saws are very advanced. When I think of technology, artificial intelligence, rockets to the moon, saws.
help us do it. So you might think no one could come up with a new way of making the task easier. Well, think again. Cumbrian-based duo Richard Bowness and Steve Tonkin believe they've done exactly that.
Do we think Bowness is a sort of a flash pronunciation of bonus?
Hello, Dragons. I'm Richard Bowness.
There you go. I mean, look what they're wearing. Now, I'm sorry. The bloke on our left there, I could be wrong, but I know I'm not because I said I've seen it before. He's not the sharpest tool in the box. Now, that doesn't mean he hasn't got other skills, but intelligence, articulation, conversation, Dragon's Den pitching are not his skill set. You know, I imagine he's a very good wood chopper.
I'm the inventor and shareholder of the Truncator multi-cut sawhorse. We've come here to ask for 100.
I might have to subtitle it. If you're not from England, these are northerners. I suppose the best way I could explain it is they're sort of like orcs. I'm only pulling your bollocks.
£25,000 for 30% of our company.
25 grand for 30%. They're valuing their company about 85 grand. I think that works out. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure you will.
Hello, Dragon.
Which, you know, that's a fair pitch, isn't it? You know, 30%. Have I got that right? 25 grand for 30%, yeah. Yeah, it's about 80 grand. They're valuing their company at 80 grand, which is all right. They've probably not sold anything.
My name's Steve Tonkin. I'm project manager here at Truncator, and I'd like to introduce...
And Duncan's laughing at you for the same reasons I did, and it's unfair. But I'm not going to lie about it because I'm not into bullshitting about reality. There's too much of that round already.
Due to our sawhorse. The Truncator sawhorse is a revolutionary new chainsaw.
No, it's not really.
Sawhorse that makes the process of cutting logs easier, faster, and much, much safer.
I mean, because I'm not from the world of cutting logs, I have lived in the country, but I have cut logs with an axe a couple of times, but only for a laugh. And the girl whose house it was, oh, she was beautiful. I was tripping on mushrooms, and she said, what are you doing after the boozer? And I said, going to your house. And she said, well, let's go now. Got in her little sports car, drove me up to Dartmoor, got to her house, beautiful. That's a different story anyway. But I don't know if this is revolutionary because I don't know about cutting wood. I couldn't, anyway.
Our sawhorse is a unique sawhorse. It's the only...
I didn't know there was such a thing as a sawhorse. What this bird done like she said, chop some wood then, and I was only about 18, so I put this big log on the bigger log, the chopping log, I suppose that might be called, and I'd just got this axe, and I've held it over my back and sort of just gone, I missed the log that was about that big. And then she was cracking up, this girl. What was her name? I've looked for her on Facebook so many times. Although she'll be about 54 now, so not. Oh, what was her name? I would love to talk to her. What a night that was. I remember. Anyway, I won't tell that bit. So she said, "Go on, give it another go." So again, I nearly dislocated both shoulders and snapped my spine, swinging this axe over. And then she said, "Yeah, this is how you do it." And she just tapped the axe head into the log, so that it was in about a centimetre. Then lifted the log and the axe off of the chopping log, and then just went duh, 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 and cut it in half. So none of that masculine swinging that I'm guessing you get in homosexual porn videos quite a lot. Continue, Dragonus.
Sawhorse.
That's an amazing face of a man who knows he's faced with two very strange and peculiar men.
Where you multiple cut.
That is weird. It's not self-comforting as much as I'm trying to work out what that means. Self-comforting would be more sort of like that, or a stroke of the lips, but that weird upward. Let's just see if that is upward.
Our sawhorse is a unique sawhorse. It's the only.
I'd forgot about the sawhorse, to be honest with you. That upward thing. What is it? He doesn't want to be there. This is uncomfortable for him. So what? There you go. This is uncomfortable for him. So what he's doing, he's making himself more uncomfortable so that he's in control of his emotions. You know, an upward. It's an unpleasant scratch. It's not natural. That holding that sort of face, you know, this isn't pleasant, but it's my unpleasant. You're not causing it, I'm causing it. That's what I'm calling that as.
Only sawhorse where you multiple cut logs. The logs are held by the cup system, and you simply stack from the cups, or in fact, even better, tip
Beak.
the cup system into a container to.
Now, my first serious comment on this business, even though they're only valuing it, I can't talk. Even though they're valuing it at about 80 grand, is it's not a very big market, is it? I mean, I'm guessing, and I'm not from the north, but I did spend a couple of years in Leeds, and I know that's a city, but I don't think this is a big enough market to, certainly not to get investment and make a big business. You'll probably get some of these in Robert Dias and, the odd hardware shop, turn over a few quid, and probably give you an half decent sort of side hustle. But as a business, I just don't think there's the market for it. And also, that Holly, her name was Holly. Lovely Holly. If you're watching this, Holly, hit me up. The desperado. But when she was doing it, she seemed to enjoy it. I'll tell you what, she looked great doing it. She had this black sort of cat suit on. Oh, a beautiful young lady chopping wood in a cat suit on a mushroom hangover was actually delicious. Sorry, I am actually sorry. If this is the first one of these you've watched, they're always like this.
Create your log pile. And we're here today to hope that with your investment and help, we can take our brand and our invention from Cumbria to the
all the way to Manchester.
UK and to the rest of Europe. I have some ear defenders for you now to put on while Richard.
He's actually, I take it back. Out of the two of them, this bloke is likeable. Out of the two of them, he's likeable. He's speaking because he's got a passion for his project and what he's invented. I mean, look at that face there. If that bloke, if you had a party and there was a knock at the door, you open the door and that face come in, you'll be like, hello mate, yeah, come in, I don't know who you are, but look at that. Yeah, let's just have a look at him how he presents and communicates again.
UK and to the rest of Europe. I have some ear defenders for you now to put on while Richard gives a demonstration of the...
Very sincere kind of facial movements, no deception there whatsoever. He's just, he knows that ear defenders are funny. He knows that it's funny to put them on multi-millionaires. Yeah. The other bloke though, I'm already just getting sort of hostile, arrogant. The other, I should have said it at the time, but the other bloke, I got the impression he was like, well, you might be successful multi-millionaires, but you're no better than me. You're no better than me. And in many ways they're not. But in the context you're in now, they are far better than you, because it's a business pitch and you want their money and their skills. And if they weren't better than you, you wouldn't want their money and their skills. So I got a bit of that from... I would have left that bloke out and just had our little friendly face man do this pitch.
Yeah, with the device.
A somewhat nervous pitch from Richard Bowness and Steve Tonkin from Cumbria. They're looking for investment for their souped-up version of a sawhorse, a device used to secure wood while it's being cut. Before the questioning can commence, it's time to see the...
Jonesy looks like he'd pay money not to be involved in a project like this. Look, I do like Jonesy. He is the most successful business person there. And you know that he's thinking, all the work I've done, all the success I've had, and I'm still here about to watch a bloke chop wood. You know, that is where I am now. That's where everything I've done and worked for, that's where it's got me. Watching a bloke chop wood. Look at that boat race.
The product in action.
Kelly Opham's she's not trusting the ear defenders, she's doubling up. Beak. Wood tap Hopham. Not a bad logo though, I like that. Truncator, you've got the sort of vessel there in the U. The O looks like, I'm just looking at it on the big screen, so I've got a big screen over here. Yeah, the O's rubbish, it looks like it's fallen down. That should have just been a standard O. They went over the top with that. But apart from that, Truncator's alright. Now, if Holly had a chainsaw and a truncator, it wouldn't have been nearly as sexy. I mean, I'm just trying to picture her with a... I mean, I know they're not trying to sell it for sexy mornings on Dartmoor, but watching her with the axe, she was a little bit more sort of primal and... whereas these two and the truncator, it's all looking a little bit practical, which is, I imagine, what they're looking for.
One barrow full of logs, 30...
Yay! Hang on, stop talking, Dangerfield.
One barrow full of logs, 30 seconds.
Absolute pride, and he should be. One barrow full of logs, 30 seconds. Beat that, Jonesy. Meaden, could you do that?
Hi, I'm Deborah. So, what are people currently using to chop logs?
All sawhorses on the market at the moment drop the logs onto the ground, which creates trip hazards.
And trip hazards is a guess, isn't it? Come on.
More importantly, most people are cutting 1 and 2 pieces of wood.
I'm sorry, but if you've got a chainsaw and a log on the floor is a trip hazard, you shouldn't be holding a chainsaw.
At a time. This you can fill that, and you are multiple cutting. So you are getting at least 100 to 200% increase in productivity.
Now, and you look, I must admit, jokes about axes and sensual ladies in catsuits aside, I mean, I don't know how many logs you need to cut to put in your shed to dry out for a winter's wood burner. You know, if it's hundreds or thousands, yes, you're not going to axe it up, are you? I doubt it. You're going to be there all week. So I understand that getting 30 odd logs cut in 30 seconds or whatever is pretty good going, and it works is what I'm saying.
Bold claims from the entrepreneurs, but can they back them up? Under questioning from Peter Jones.
How many people could go out in their back garden, cut down some trees,
And that's my point. This is to do with the size of the market.
put them onto the truncator, then cut their logs, then take them back into their house? What's the reality of that? Is that 1 in 50,000, 1 in a million?
At least one in, well, I would have thought there'd be a lot more than that.
He went down so many cul-de-sacs there, and in the end just said no more. It's more than that.
1 in what?
Well,
What's that? What I'm saying is,
because the market is so big, we can't actually ascertain where it is.
That's a really weird angle. That's an odd angle. That's petulant, isn't it?
I don't think the market is big.
I would act.
The problem with our other bloke is his resting face. You know, I think he's a nice enough bloke, but his resting face is that one. And that's not a good resting face, because, you know, the lights are on but no one's home. Anyway, back to the market's so big we can't see it. Can't see the woods for the trees. yeah. Forest, I think, is the correct way of saying that phrase.
Accept your view, but you're completely wrong.
But that
You're wrong is a wicked argument. Look at Meaden. Looks like she's had about 10 gin and tonics and a couple of chin and tonics.
doesn't help.
No, I'll
Richard.
accept that it's a thing that isn't within your gambit, therefore you haven't got the knowledge.
Oh my God! I mean, that's a fair point if you'd have given him some numbers. But to offer no numbers, to offer no counter argument and just say, I understand that you this isn't your area, so you don't know. Well, it's your area and you don't know. You've just proven that. Oh God, this has taken a turn for the worst.
To actually ascertain.
Oh look, he's doing it again. See, self uncomfort.
No, but you've supposed to got the knowledge, and you've come in here with a table that I could get from anywhere, with a Truncator just put on the front as a brand, and you're then telling me that I'm wrong.
It's a table.
Well, give me some facts.
There you go. Oh, the silence of no facts.
We're looking for sales of 1,300 of these units in the first year.
1,300? Hang on a minute, how much are they going to cost? I wouldn't expect you to be paying more than 20 quid for one of those. So what's that, about 23,000 revenue? Net profit 4 quid?
And that should produce 65,000
Gross profit.
gross profit.
Gross.
Then going to
Yeah, I really got my maths called out there, didn't I? I'll leave it in. I have no shame. I'm not a mathematatio.
3,500, and that goes to the 130.
What's your net profit going to be in those 2 years?
So in the second year, 130 grand turnover. Take away all the costs, take away all you know, the manufacture of them and all that. Are they paying themselves a wage? Blah blah blah. After all of that, they're left with next to nothing. 20 grand max. They don't know. They haven't even thought about that. Look at those two faces. I don't know if you can see it, but I've got it close up here. The shorter one's looking at the other one for assistance, and if you look at the expression on the other one's face, you ain't getting much assistance from that, is my guess.
Do you remember?
Oh, I actually felt for him there. That was a pained exhalation. Oh, come on, man. If you're looking at, if you know what your gross, if you know what your revenue is, that's the first thing you do. Okay, so we've sold, we're looking at selling this much. That'll turn over this much. Here's our costs, here's our tax. We're left with this. What, this is your business and you don't know that? That is so fundamental and basic. It's shocking. That I'm shocked by that. And this isn't down to their IQ or anything, or them being northern. This is this isn't they haven't not remembered this. They've never thought about it, because you know, this is what business is like. I saw a Dragon's Den video yesterday, a couple of blokes doing this, you know, you order a meal and they deliver it exactly, you know, sort of bespoke to your needs, so you can cook it at home with little pouches of the right amount of chili powder, the right amount of cumin, you know, the right amount of whatever, and it comes to your house, you cook it up, and lovely. And they were saying that currently they turn over something like, I think it was 1,200 meals a month. Right? 1,200 meals they're selling a month, which is pretty good, right, for a start-up. Later on in the show, he said to cut even, I think he said they need to be doing, I think it was 12,000. So they're not even in profit. 12,000 meals a month to cut even. And at the moment they were losing 30 grand a year. Now, you know, I do say this on most videos, but the difference between your turnover and your profit, it would shock most of you if you're not in business, if you're not an entrepreneur. You know, I have people come to me all the time, look, I've worked out if I can sell blah 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 of these, that's a turnover of like, you know, 900 grand a year. And I'm like, yeah, well, okay, but you're left with 80,000. You want to do all that work for that? Well, you know, crack on. And people don't believe me. You know, they don't believe me. I'm like, well, you know, you got income tax, you got corporation tax, you got VAT to think about. You've got the supplier's costs. You've got import duties, export duties. You've got freight, which has gone through the roof. Air freight. Most people are moving to sea freight at the moment, which is a lot cheaper than air freight. But you're looking at 8 weeks to get your stock, which means you've got to plan well in advance. Whereas air freight will get it to you within like 2 or 3 days sometimes. Anyway, so yeah, it's not that they forgot, they just haven't thought about it, because they just thought, well, you know, year 2, 130,000, that's loads of money. That's what I think anyway.
Sorry, the figures have gone out of our heads.
Literally trying to work it out now. And because they can't work it out now, he's thinking what number he can guess and then justify that guess. That can't be pleasant. Look at Deborah. She's had enough of the gin. She's on to the old jazz cigarettes now.
How can we put this? This is quite good.
Well,
What'd you say? What'd you say, Richard?
This is quite good.
Is that your humour?
It is.
Oh, this is really awkward. Why is Jonesy being unpleasant? Well, let's just have a look at Jonesy's face then. That was a look at that still. That's the kid at school that was an arsehole. You know, he was taller and bigger than the rest of everyone. Yeah, look at that. Look.
What'd you say, Richard?
This is quite good.
Is that your humour?
It is actually, because we're making a complete mess of the figures.
By arguing back.
But in fairness, this is what makes Dragon's Den amazing. It's a psychological catastrophe. You've got so much going on. You've got hopes, you've got dreams, you've got money, you've got you've got incredible social status distinctions, and you chuck all that in, and then you add national television into that. It's wonderful. What a hit series. It's on like series 14 or something now. Who would have thought it? It's in Australia, it's in America, Shark Tank, I think they call it out there, in one of those two. I might do some of the Shark Tank ones, because it does show a very interesting distinction between the different countries, like Australia. In the Australian one, they're like, "Are you got to be joking, you bastard." I don't know what that sounded like Dick Van Dyke doing an impression of an Englishman. But they swear, they say fair dinkum. It's all a little bit relaxed and Australian barbecue. The American one is just sort of American. The English one is best though, because we're English.
back and getting the numbers wrong, Richard has ruffled the feathers of
Unfortunately, Richard is English as well.
the Dragons. Is easing the den's uncomfortable atmosphere on Kelly Hoppen's agenda.
Can I just say that, you know, everyone that comes in here with an invention, I take my hat off to you. I love the way it chops up the...
Ah, look, she's trying to that little release a bit of tension. Calm it down a bit. Good call, Kelly.
logs neatly. But in terms of a business, it's a flawed business plan. You're talking about all the people that go and buy a chainsaw. It's not going to be people that are chopping down logs for a business. You go to petrol stations, all these hardware stores where they're all bagged up.
Piers hasn't touched a tree ever. Look, he hasn't got a clue what's going on.
think that you're thinking that all of those thousands of people that are buying the chainsaws have got a bit...
Duncan, being the only other working class person in there, in the room, he's got a different thing going on, because he grew up with people like them. He out of everyone in the room, apart from me of course, Duncan really gets this. Duncan is watching working class people struggling in front of people who've got higher IQs, who are far more successful, and he's seen it his whole life. And he's probably having a little bit of nostalgia, remembering where he comes from.
business. Most people...
I'll be interested to see what Duncan says and how he handles that, and how it reflects or contradicts what I just said. Anyway, Hoppen's talking.
that I know that live in the country actually enjoy cutting down the logs. It's like a pastime.
The bourgeoisie. Most people I know live in the country. It's like a hobby. You know, they get out there with their axe and they chop, chop, chop. I mean, it's not enough to keep the house warm for more than a morning, but you know, there's the bloke down the road does that, like someone like you.
But I don't think you're going to sell enough.
Okay.
Yeah, but she's still right at the end. There's a tiny market in it. Let me know in the comments whether you know people. You know, I'm not talking about industrial, but industrial, they've already got these. They got things. They got machines that do this. You know, I think Hoppen makes a good point actually. It's not big enough to be used for industrial log chopping, but it's too big for people who just chop a few logs for their fire, or who really go to petrol stations and buy bags of them. But I don't know about it. I mean, you know, the only wood burner I ever had, that Holly gave to me, that Holly from the house on Dartmoor, and I put it in the caravan that I lived in, but I spent one night in that caravan. The bloke I shared it with used to sleep in it, but it stunk and it was freezing, and it was on a New Age Travellers site. I preferred to spend nights in the beds of art school girls because they were warmer and more conducive to a good time at art school. Sensuality.
It's flawed.
Could I say, I'm quite impressed with the pluck of you all telling somebody who does cut logs big time and has done for 50 odd years.
So you're saying...
Oh my God, the pluck of you is an amazing saying. I'm quite impressed with the pluck of you. So his point is, because he cuts logs, he knows more about the size of the market, which he already shows he doesn't. And that's a real mistake. Oh no, I've been cutting logs for years. How big's the market? Don't know. Okay.
That you're unimpressed by us because we don't cut logs, so we don't know what we're talking about when it comes to cutting logs.
Yes.
Right. Well, what I'm saying is this. I'm unimpressed with you telling us how to run a profitable, successful business. I'm out.
Oh God, he was. There you go. Well, he told him.
Challenging the Dragons appears a kamikaze tactic as Duncan Bannatyne walks away from the deal. Piers Lynn.
That surprised me, actually. I have to say, it surprised me, that reaction to them. I mean, the bloke did get a bit shitty, for lack of a better word, you know, our log cutter. He did get a bit shitty when you start talking about the pluck of you all.
Linney is keen to steer the pitch back to business.
I don't think Linney's got a clue, really, about any of this. I don't think he knows why people chop logs.
And the all-important issue of sales.
I don't think anybody here thinks that there isn't a market for this. There is, clearly. The question is, how big is that market? And that's where the
I'd be surprised that you weren't
is.
selling £1 million of that product within 3 years.
Yeah, but what are you basing that on? You just want to. You want to sell that much. That's it.
But you sit here and you chuck out words like, you know, that I would be surprised if we don't sell 1 million of these. And honestly, you are surprised at me. Well, I'm really surprised at you not coming up with actual fact. I reckon we'll sell 3,000 to 4,000. Then tell me you're going to sell 3,000 to 4,000.
We will sell far more than 3,000 to 4,000. This start-up company, up to now, has consisted of me for 2 years and Steve for roughly 60 days.
How is that helping me make a decision on whether or not I invest in you?
Because myself, I've sold £9,000 of that product to hill farmers and the hardest market you could ever believe, to people that have never bought a sawhorse, won't buy anything.
Yeah, but you're still not telling us the size of the market. You're telling us you found a little... 9 grand of market is a piss in the ocean.
And I've sold it to the hardest.
But Richard, you're missing the point. This is all fantastic. Every entrepreneur that comes in here has a story behind them. Every entrepreneur sitting here in front of you has worked their socks off to get where they are today. That doesn't give me the reason to invest. I think you'd be impossible to work with.
Yeah, I couldn't spend... The other fella, yeah, but I couldn't... I already took a disliking to that bloke as soon as he opened his trap.
Always have to look at the person at the end of the day and think, how would we work together? And we wouldn't. We would kill each other.
He'd have her on that truncator. I don't mean have her like that. That's in your head.
So I'm out.
Richard's defensiveness of his product is proving disastrous as an irritated Deborah Meaden bows out. And it looks like Kelly Hoppen has also made up her mind.
Beak.
You've kind of walked in here unenergetic, unexcited about a product that, you know, I actually like, although it's so out of my sphere of what I do for a living, but I can see that it's a good product.
She's very attractive though, Hoppen. I wonder how old she is. I'll look into that. I mean, not that that should matter, but it does. But yeah, she likes it. She likes the truncator.
But your attitude is...
Because she's the sort of person that would have a truncator party. Come on, come round. We're chopping logs with the truncator. Oh yes, I nearly did drop the C-bomb, the C-uncator there.
so unengaging. So, you know, obviously you know what I'm going to say. I'm afraid I'm out.
It's fine. Thank you.
That's fine. It's fine.
Steve, Richard, it was rubbish.
I hope he doesn't say anything else. That would be the most savage and hilarious reply ever in the history of Dragon's Den. It was rubbish.
Just the whole, not the product, I like the product. I don't get it, I don't live in the country like some of the other dragons.
He doesn't have a clue.
If I got a chain...
It was rubbish.
out to my garden, somebody will probably call the police. But the biggest issue, I think, is yourself.
And it really is as well. Look at him, Abs. See, now he's letting all that tension that he was building up earlier. That's just coming out. Look, he's actually just told someone who's trying to make a business work. The biggest problem with the business is you, your personality, you as a character, you as a person. That's hard. That's quite a dark thing to say to someone. You're problematic. Look at his face. Look at that geezer's face who's just said to someone, it's rubbish and the biggest problem is your personality. Look, he's over the moon to have got that off his chest. He's been thinking that for the last 10 minutes. Look at that. He looks like the Joker. It's rubbish and the biggest problem is you. Terrifying.
I just can't imagine working with you and trying to have a straight conversation with you, because I think you think you know better, and perhaps you do when it comes to logging, but it's not just about
logging. Perhaps he does when it comes to dogging.
Logging. It's just about building a business, isn't it? So I'm out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
4 dragons are out.
Jonesy loves having the last word. He absolutely adores being the headline act.
Will Peter Jones be an unlikely saviour to what's proving to be...
No, he's been sitting there for the last 5 minutes working out how he can say the most hurtful things to these 2 blokes that he possibly can. But he's going to have to go some to compete with old Piers Linney there. It was rubbish.
A chainsaw massacre in the den.
Well done, Uffenthal.
You really should have got onto your numbers. You really should have asked yourselves the questions that you believed would be asked. 1 day's worth of work before you came in here, and you would have been able to answer some pretty easy questions.
1 hour, not even a day. Come on, if you can predict turning over 130 grand, you can work out your net profit in about 10 minutes.
Appalling pitch.
He managed it. He managed to do it. He did. He won up. Did he won up Linney? Let me know in the comments who won. Pier Linney's "it was rubbish" or Jones's appalling pitch.
And that's the reason why I'm not investing.
So when I got to their website, I'm blown away. What an absolute...
Well, there you go, people.
Let's have a little look. Have you noticed it's got dark here while we've been doing this? Yeah, that's what the Truncator does when you bring it into your life. Let's have a look what's happening to... I'm so far away. You might think, well, there's nothing special about that, but sales don't work like that. You're not meant to go there and think, oh, that's beautiful, oh, I like that. No, this is how you sell things. It works on a different level. This tells you exactly what it does. It tells you who the company is, which will sort of connect with other branding, other marketing elsewhere. So straight away at the top, Truncator, our log saw horses. That's what they sell, and there they are. There's pictures of them. Tells you how much they are. Like the 4-fold log saw horse is 166 quid. I quite like the Truncator single cup. That's 26.99, and you can buy them right there. You can click on details, and there you go. Tells you a little bit more about it, which is everything you want. Let's have a look at the sales copy. The Truncator 4-fold chainsaw saw horse is our best-selling model, aimed at both professionals and home users. The heavy-duty the heavy-duty galvanised steel trestle holds 4 patented. They got a patent. I already checked that out. Holds 4 patented Truncator tipping cups, and the legs also fold inward for easier storage. Its unique design makes cutting logs faster, easier, and safer without backache. Great. It's great. It's not exhilarating sales copy, but you're going to get what you want from it. You've got a little bit of zooming in here. So I thought, well, that's a nice a nice website. You know, as a landing page, there you go. You've got professional versions of it. Blah blah blah. 30-day money back guarantee. Nice. Tells you how it works. Nice and simple. Yeah, not overcomplicated. Got some, you know, some bullet points here. Nice, and also nice SEO. This is also nice. Tells you what it does. Little. You've got some quotes. Got some frequently asked questions. It's a nice website. It is a nice website. It's got it's grown in Britain. I don't really know what that means. Technical Innovation Award. They're part of promoting forestry and wood. There's their big patent thing. You can even go to the About Us page, and our boys tell us all about. Well, actually, interestingly, older Richard Bowness had to retire because he had a bad back from chopping wood. That's why he invented it, and it saved his back so he could still do his job. I know I just bodged that up, but you get the idea. And they even talk about Dragon's Den. Look, you may have also recognised us from Dragon's Den, which was an unforgettable. I can't even talk. I'll tell you why I can't talk. Because in between doing the reaction and doing this bit, the cats that I feed, the mother and her 2 kittens, one of them climbed in my back window and pissed on my bed for the 3rd time. You know, I'm not feeding them anymore. No, you can go and eat rats. Your premium tuna's over. So I'm a little bit not happy. I've got the bloody duvet and all that in the wash for the 3rd time in the anyway, this isn't a cat wee reaction video. So I saw the website and I thought, oh, I'm being proved wrong here. Then I've gone over to Company's House. And here we are, Richard Bowness Limited. He's the main man, clearly. Still active, still going. And now I'm putting the pieces together. Lovely website, still going. An increased range on their website. Won awards. There's another bit where it says multi-award winning, so there's probably more. And I'm thinking this is amazing. You know, look, next accounts, September 2023. So they've got in last year's accounts. And, you know, you can always be proved wrong with these things. The Dragons have made mistakes. The Dragons have said this won't work, blah, blah, blah. The Trunky, you know, the little sort of, it's like a suitcase on wheels for kids. And they said, no, it's awful, it's rubbish. You can't go to an airport anywhere in the world without seeing kids being dragged around on those things. Multi-million-dollar company now. So, you know, happy to be wrong. Like to see working class people making money. And then I had a look at their filing history and last year's accounts. See if we can make this a bit bigger, which we can. And we get down to the important bit. Oh dear. Oh dear. He was talking about millions. I mean, this is shocking. Current assets, 40 grand. Last year, 40 grand. And then you get down here, creditors, money owed, 442 foul. Net liabilities, 367 foul. And then you go down a bit further, shareholders' funds, oh, hang on, that's the same number. So that is money owed to them, by them, were the company to liquidate. But they haven't got that money. I mean, you know, the money they've got in the bank at the moment is 11,000. 11,000. Current assets, so stock basically, 28 grand. So altogether they've got 40,000. It's terrible. And last year, the year before this, sorry, it would appear to have been better. Yeah, what a terrible shame, rubbish company. I mean, and the thing is, you know, even to get that amount of desperate profit, they're probably having to put a hell of a lot of work in. You know, to run a website, to be in e-commerce, you've got customer service to deal with all day long. That isn't easy. I used to do it. It's a horrible job. You have to get specialists in to do that, people who know how to do it, people who've got the temperament to deal with people going, where's my fucking order? I've bought it, don't work. Why did it? You've lost me a job. You've just cost me 10 grand. You know, there's the marketing, there's the advertising, you've got to delegate all that. I'm guessing they're not doing much of it because, you know, even with their multi-award winning, even with their being on Dragon's Den, it's not a great business. But if you need to chop logs, maybe get yourself a Truncator. I kind of want one because I want to distract myself, and the bloody cat piss on my bed.
Yeah.